I'd like to reconvene the meeting and call this meeting to order for the City Council meeting of January 17th, 2017. Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Councilmember Boyson?
Here.
Councilmember Cordero?
Here.
Councilmember Moats?
Here.
Councilmember Waterfield?
Here.
Madam Mayor?
Here. City Attorney Trujillo, would you please give the report of the closed session?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. There is no reportable action for each of the 3 items on the closed session agenda. And that concludes my closed session report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Trujillo. Our first order of business this evening is the introduction of our next series of the Hometown Heroes honorees. And I will be making the presentation along with the Recreation and Parks Director, Mr. Posada.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council.
Good evening, Mr.
We
Posada.
are together again for this year's new class of Hometown Heroes. The Hometown Heroes program is a partnership between the City of Santa Maria, the American Legion, and the Veterans of Foreign Wars post-2521. And we've created this program in concert with those groups to recognize those individuals in Santa Maria who have served in the military, are serving in the military at this time. So I'd like to kind of walk you through a little bit of what the plan is for tonight. We're going to ask the mayor and sorry, I have to put my glasses on. Carl Holmquist, the commander of the VFW, and Richard Tilley, the commander of American Legion Post, to join you at the rail, and Dennis Smitherman, management analyst for Recreation and Parks, will help us get the awards presented. One of the things that we want to try and do tonight is to let the community recognize these individuals who have helped out in preserving our freedom. Some of the individuals that will be presented tonight unfortunately have passed and won't be here to receive their recognition, but we definitely want to make sure that the community remembers their names. This past summer we ran the first class of Hometown Heroes. They included Clay Bradfield, Jake Bradfield, Daniel Johnson, Dave Wright, James Bray, Jonathan Staffel, Carino Galvez, and Ryan Zierman. These individuals' banners flew on South College Drive between the roundabouts there, and got a lot of positive comments and feedback from the community about that. So we're ready to present our next class of individuals. Let me move through the slides here. So the qualifications are the individuals can be active duty, retired with an honorable discharge, and those that have given their life in action in one of the branches of the military forces. The purpose of the program, again, is to remind the public of the vital service given and the sacrifices made by our local neighbors here through their military service, and to thank them for the service protecting our freedoms. So we would like to begin, if the mayor can join us down front, and Councilmember Moats. We will invite a gentleman that I know very well, and I think most of the community knows very well, as Mr. Al Vieira. Mr. Vieira, if you would join us up front. Mr. Vieira was a member of the Marine Corps, and for many years, the executive director of the Boys and Girls Club of Santa Maria. And I'm sorry, I've promised the news that we would make sure that everybody takes a second for a picture, so we're going to do that as you come up and receive your certificate today. If you would pause for a photo, and then we're going to ask the group to assemble outside after the presentations, and they'll do a group shot. Thank you. Next up, Dan Joseph Hoback, another individual well known around Santa Maria community and a member of the United States Navy. An individual that I knew pretty well, Mr. Fred Homan, who passed away, was also a decorated war veteran in the United States Army. And I've asked Al Vieira to come back up and accept Mr. Homan's award for him. Yeah. And an individual who I had the pleasure of going to his 90th birthday party on Saturday, again, a well-known figure in the community, Mr. George Crosby. Thank you, George. Thank you. I can ask Councilmember Boyson to join us down at the rail. Our next awardee is Gerhardt, or better known as Moose Rinke. Moose is a member of the community, but he was the general manager for many years of the local Coca-Cola bottling company. And for those of you that have been around the community for a long time know him as Moose. And I don't believe he has a representative here this evening, but if one of the members of the Kiwanis Club, perhaps President Phil Seamus, would like to come up and receive that for him, that'd be great. Thank you. Next, I would like to invite the representatives that are here for Kenneth Alvarez to please come forward and receive his certificate. The whole family can come on up. That's great. We want to thank the family for coming out and accepting this in his honor. Next up is Ray Heath, U.S. Navy vet. Ray, are you here this evening? There he is. Thank you, Ray. Our next awardee, Richard Dupuy. Unfortunately, I understand that Mr. Dupuy entered the hospital yesterday and was not going to be able to make it here this evening for the presentation. So I don't know if there's anyone here representing him who would like to accept the award for him. Thank you. We'll make sure that Mr. Dupuy gets that. Thank you. Councilmember Cordero, if you would join us down here on the rail, please. Thank you. Our next awardee also was unable to be here. Mr. Dixon passed away about 2 years ago now. He was a veteran in the Air Force and a member of the Santa Maria Kiwanis Club, and I've asked Kiwanis Club member Susan Motes to come and accept that award for him. And we're going to have Susan stand up here one more minute. Our next awardee also wasn't able to be here this evening, but many of you will recognize the name Bob Morrison. Bob Morrison was a vet in the U.S. Air Force. He was unable to be here this evening, and it took us pulling teeth to get that picture from him. It's an 18-year-old Bob Morrison up there, for those of you that have seen Bob around. Our next awardee is George Risher. Is George here this evening?
Yay, George!
Yay, George. Councilmember Waterfield, if you could join us down here. Our next award is presented to the family of Joseph Heredia. Thank you. Thank you very much. Our next awardee is Kelly Widner. Is Kelly here? All right.
And this is Kelly's mother. Kelly is in San Antonio, where she's stationed right now, active duty. Absolutely.
Great. Well, thank you. Our final awardee this evening is Joseph Skoda III. Joseph, I know he's here. We talked earlier. Come on down. Thank you very much. Thank you, Commander Holmquist and Commander Tilley, for helping us out this evening and for helping us out with the program. I do want to make one final comment, and that is to thank the members of families and service clubs who have sponsored the signage of the banners. This is the current class that'll be going up, so it'll be a pretty impressive sight down South College Drive to see these new banners flying. They will be up for the next 6 months, and then we'll cycle through our next winter class of Hometown Heroes. We thank you, Council, for your attention and allowing us to present these to you.
I want to say congratulations to all of the recipients and the recognition given to you. If any of you would like to come up to the podium and make any comments, you are certainly welcome to do so. No takers? Okay. Oh, here we go. Mr. Alvarez.
Yeah, I just would like to say thank you to the Santa Maria Elks Lodge Bingo Kitchen crew for sponsoring the flag for my son, and for Santa Maria for putting on this program. It's wonderful.
Thank you very much. And thank you all for your service. Sometimes some of our younger residents don't realize what it is like or have a member that anymore that has served in the military, and so they don't realize what the family gives up and what the families go through when they have their loved ones overseas. So anyway, thank you very much, and thank you all for being here tonight. The next item this evening is a proclamation, and Councilmember Waterfield will be making the presentation.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The City of Santa Maria proclamation, whereas for over 30 years, the Central Coast Citizens for Family and Life have been celebrating Respect for Life Week in Santa Maria. Whereas it is imperative that residents of the community defend human life at all ages and conditions of dependency and protect the disabled, the handicapped, and those defenseless in any way. And whereas this year's Respect for Life Week is being celebrated January 16th through January 22nd. And whereas the local Life Walk took place on Sunday, January 15th, 2017, and whereas Respect for Life is a vital issue that invites full public awareness. Now, therefore, Alice M. Patino, Mayor of the City of Santa Maria, hereby recognizes the week of January 16th through January 22nd, 2017 as Respect for Life in the City of Santa Maria. And the person receiving this is John Lundgren.
Well, I'll tell you, it's hard to follow what just happened. Thank you to our service members and what they mean to our country. Mayor Patino, council members, thank you for this great honor. As we gather on the other side of the wall in the courtyard just 2 days ago, the pro-life community was again in solidarity as one voice proclaiming that life is sacred and needs to be protected. We sang worship songs to our Creator, spoke of how great the need is to quit standing on the sidelines and get in the game of life. We prayed that God would hear our petition to end the bloodshed of the innocent. For indeed, the taking of any other innocent life for the sake of convenience or circumstance would and should not be tolerated. Why, we ask, is this allowed? Only because our eyes have not seen nor our ears heard the beautiful sounds of a precious life just yet formed. I dare say that it would be intolerable for a new birthed baby to have their lives purposely ended for any reason once delivered into the world we live. Yet this is the plight today, making it out. You're safe. Minutes earlier, legally not so much. With the new administration taking the oath of office in just 3 days, we, the pro-life community, pray that the 44 years and 59 million lives since Roe v. Wade era would soon take a turn for the protection of our most blessed of natural resources, our fearfully and wonderfully made gifts from the Lord above. As the president of Right to Life for the Central Coast, I want to speak for our local community of life and say thank you for continuing the decades-long proclamation for life here in Santa Maria. With support from our civic leaders, Santa Maria can indeed be that shining city on a hill, leading the way for a respect for life that will take us into the future with confidence that we are united in the quest for the protection of all human life, from conception until natural passing. We have a token of our appreciation here for the support that I would like to give each council member. It's a button that blinks depicting a heartbeat of a 21-day-old baby. Thank you. After conception in the womb. You simply, you just simply take away and it has a little heartbeat. And the flashing light is the same speed as the heartbeat of a newly formed infant in the womb at 21 days. I want to thank you. I want to pray God's blessing on you and God's blessing on the United States of America. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, John.
Thank you very
John.
much. The next item on our agenda this evening is the public comment period. Madam Clerk, could you please read the criteria for public comment?
This time is reserved to accept comments from the public on consent agenda items, closed session items, or matters not otherwise on the scheduled agenda. Unless otherwise directed by the mayor, speakers will have 3 minutes to comment. Direction to staff may be given. However, state law does not allow action to be taken by the city council on matters not on the printed agenda this evening. Once the public comment period commences, no other speakers will be allowed to submit a request to speak form. Madam Mayor, at this point, I have one.
Just one? Okay. Thank you. And this is for Greg Burtnett. Good evening, Mr. Burtnett. How are you doing?
Good evening, Madam Mayor, City Council, City staff. I am here tonight with fellow board members of Good Samaritan Shelter right here in Santa Maria. We have Michael Sachs and Larry Vernon and Terry Zuniga. And someone grab Alex. He just walked out the door. Sorry. We are here because we want to honor the sacrifice and steady work that Mr. Posada has done on behalf of the city of Santa Maria and those who are in desperate need of help and who get services through the Good Samaritan Shelter here in Santa Maria. And we want to thank Mr. Posada and the Rec and Park Department for their tireless effort on our behalf, and again, especially on the behalf of the City of Santa Maria. And we'd like to present this plaque to you, Mr. Posada, and thanks for your work.
Thank you very much. Moving on to the consent calendar. Madam Clerk, I'm sorry. Mr. Hayden, did you want to say anything?
If you
I
could.
almost forgot you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the City Council. Mr. Prasada is just a fine example of the many city employees that we have that go above and beyond the call of duty to help out those in the community. We take very much a lot of pride in the fact that we have good city employees that are good and strong public servants. At this time, I'd like to also introduce the newest member to our management family, Mr. Chung Ing, our new Community Development Director. Chung comes to us from the city of Lancaster, in which he was the Planning Services Manager. He was over the development review and planning process for the city, as well as worked and oversaw the planners, the building and services technicians. He comes to the City of Santa Maria with a degree in public policy from Occidental College and a master's degree just right down the street from Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. He is going to be overseeing our building department, planning department, and special projects divisions in the City of Santa Maria. 25 employees, a $5 million budget. His first day was 2 weeks ago, and so we'd like to welcome Chung. We're having a welcoming gathering before the next Planning Commission meeting, which will be next Wednesday, in his honor, so he can meet some of the planning commissioners. The other thing I would, Mr. Ing, would you like to say a few words?
I'm thinking this is how you turn the mic on. But Mayor Patino, council members, I am very honored to be here. I look forward to many years of service to the City of Santa Maria, and this first week has been really good. The other city staff members have been very gracious and kind to me, so I'm just very excited to be here, and I look forward to working with you all.
Welcome.
Madam Clerk, while I still have the microphone, I'd just like to bring to the public's attention and the viewing public's attention that 3 weeks from tonight is our next City Council meeting, not 2 weeks, but 3 weeks from tonight. That evening, we're going to bring forward for Council's consideration an item for the Mayor's Task Force on violence prevention, youth violence prevention. And what we would like to do is identify key stakeholders from established agencies and nonprofits that are currently providing violence prevention efforts and services to the youth of our community. So if there are any interested established agencies that are out there that provide suppression, prevention, and intervention services to our youth with the intent to curb violence, I would encourage them to contact the city manager's office, primarily our Deputy City Manager, Jason Stillwell. The phone number is 925-0951, extension 2396. And we're going to be trying to formulate a recommendation to the mayor on the establishment of a policy task force. We'll also be establishing a technical task force as well, too, regarding that same matter. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Hayden. Okay, now we can move on to the consent calendar. Madam Clerk, could you please read item number 3?
Routine items are presented for City Council approval without discussion as a single agenda item in order to expedite the meeting. Consent calendar is approved by roll call vote with one motion. These items are discussed only on the request of council members.
Okay, Mr. Boyson.
So, Madam Mayor, on item 3H, I will be recusing myself and stepping down from the dais before we entertain any discussions or motions on that item.
Okay.
Madam Mayor, 3F, I am going to abstain from that vote.
Okay.
Yeah, 3H. And with that, Madam Mayor,
Okay.
if there's no other
Anyone down here need to recuse yourself? Okay, go ahead, Mr. Boyson.
With that, I would move for the approval of the consent calendar with the exception of 3F and 3H.
Second.
It's been moved and second to approve the consent calendar with the exception of item H and F. All those in favor? Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Councilmember Boyson.
Aye.
Councilmember Waterfield.
Aye.
Councilmember Cordero.
Aye.
Councilmember Moats.
Aye.
Madam Mayor Patino.
Aye.
And then, Madam Mayor, I would move for the adoption of consent calendar 3F.
Okay. Do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
It's been moved and second to approve item 3F. Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Councilmember Boyson.
Aye.
Councilmember Cordero.
Aye.
Councilmember Moats.
Aye.
Councilmember Waterfield.
Abstain.
Madam Mayor Patino.
Aye.
And Madam Mayor, after Councilmember Boyson leaves the dais, I would like to recommend the city staff that the city council adopt resolution 2017-03 and
That's
resolution
item 3.
2017.
And that's item 3H?
That's 3H, yes it is.
Okay. Do I hear a second?
Second.
It's been moved and second to adopt item 3H. Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Councilmember Waterfield.
Aye.
Councilmember Moats.
Aye.
Councilmember Cordero.
Aye.
Madam Mayor Patino.
Aye. Okay. Someone want to bring Mr. Boyce? Oh, Mr. Boyson, you can come back in. The next order of business is the annual appointments to boards. Madam Clerk, could you please read the title?
The City Council will consider making appointments to the Commission for Senior Citizens Area Agency on Aging, Landmark Committee, Measure U 2012 Citizens Oversight Committee, Planning Commission, Recreation and Parks Commission, and the Santa Maria Community Television Board, and direct staff to continue advertising vacancies on the Block Grants Advisory Committee, Board of Appeals, Landmark Committee, Measure U 2012 Citizens Oversight Committee, and any other committees with current vacancies.
And do we have any requests to speak?
Madam, we do not.
Okay. So we want to take the Central Coast Commission Area Agency on Aging first?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Do you want?
Go ahead.
Okay, I'll be giving the report this evening.
Okay.
Madam Mayor, members of the City Council, the request before you this evening is to make various appointments to the boards and committees I just mentioned. I'll present the boards one at a time for consideration of appointments and the council's ratification.
Okay.
I'll begin with the Central Coast Commission of Area Agency on Aging, which has one vacancy. Staff received one application for council's consideration from Beth Kaiser. One appointment is to be made by the Madam Mayor Patino with ratification by the City Council to fill a term ending in January 2019.
Okay, I will at this time nominate Beth Kaiser.
I'll second.
It's been moved and second to nominate Beth Kaiser for the Central Coast Commission Area Agency on Aging. Okay, I have the second, which, could you please call the roll?
Sure. Madam Mayor Patino?
Aye.
Councilmember Boyson?
Aye.
Councilmember Moats?
Aye.
Councilmember Waterfield?
Aye.
Councilmember Cordero?
Aye.
Madam Clerk, can you please continue?
Yes. There are 3 vacancies on the Landmark Committee. However, staff received only one new application from Hiram Martinez. One appointment is to be made by Madam Mayor Petito with ratification by the City Council to fill a term expiring January 2020.
Okay, I'll make the motion to appoint Hiram Martinez.
Second.
It's been moved in second. Any further council discussion? Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Madam Mayor Patino?
Aye.
Councilmember Waterfield?
Aye.
Councilmember Boyson?
Aye.
Councilmember Cordero?
Aye.
Councilmember Moats?
Aye.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Can you continue?
There are 3 vacancies on the Measure U 2012 Citizens Oversight Committee. Staff received applications from each of the 3 incumbents, Trent Benedetti, Jack Owen Jr., and Donna Randolph. One appointment each is to be made by Mayor Patino, Councilmember Cordero, and Councilmember Moats with ratification by the City Council to fill terms ending in January 2021.
Okay, Councilmember Patino, oh my gosh. Cordero, do you have an appointment?
I appoint Jack Owen Jr.
Okay. Councilmember Moats.
I'd like to recommend the appointment of Donna Randolph.
Okay, and I will appoint Trent Benedetti and make a motion to confirm that. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and second to appoint Jack Owen, Donna Randolph, and Trent Benedetti. Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Madam Mayor Patino?
Aye.
Councilmember Cordero?
Aye.
Councilmember Moats?
Aye.
Councilmember Boyson?
Aye.
Councilmember Waterfield?
Aye.
Okay.
Continue.
You can continue.
There are 3 vacancies on the Planning Commission. Applications were received from 2 incumbents, Tim Seifert and Robert Dickerson, and new applications were received from Jared Anderson, Tom Lopez, and Jack Owen Jr. Nominations are to be made by Madam Mayor Patino, Councilmember Cordero, and Councilmember Moats, with ratification by the City Council to fill terms ending in January 2021.
Okay, Councilmember Cordero, do you have a nomination?
I nominate Tom Lopez.
Okay. Councilmember Moats, do you have a nomination?
I nominate Tim Seifert.
And I will be nominating Robert Dickerson. Do I hear a second?
Second.
It's been moved in second. And Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Madam Mayor Patino?
Aye.
Councilmember Boyson?
Aye.
Councilmember Waterfield?
Aye.
Councilmember Cordero?
Aye.
Councilmember Moats?
Aye.
Okay, Madam Clerk, can you continue?
There are 3 vacancies on the Recreation and Parks Commission. 1 application was received from the incumbent Laura Henderson, and 2 new applications were received from Ann Batterson, Rebecca Carey, and John Childers Jr. Nominations are to be made by Madam Mayor Patino, Councilmember Cordero, and Councilmember Moats to fill terms ending in January 2021.
Okay, Councilmember Cordero, do you have a nomination?
Laura Henderson.
And Councilmember Moats?
I nominate Ann Batterson.
And I will be nominating Rebecca Carey. This point, do I hear a second?
Second.
So we moved in second to appoint these nominees to the Recreation and Parks Commission. Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Madam Mayor Patino?
Aye.
Councilmember Boyson?
Aye.
Councilmember Cordero?
Aye.
Councilmember Waterfield?
Aye.
And Councilmember Moats?
Aye.
Okay.
We have one final committee to discuss this evening. There's 1 vacancy on the Santa Maria Community Television Committee. Staff received 1 application from incumbent Mark Vandekamp. The appointee will serve a term ending in January 2019. The appointment will be made by Madam Mayor Patino with ratification by the City Council.
Okay, I will make a motion to appoint Mark Vandekamp to the Santa Maria Community Television Committee.
Second.
It's been moved in second. Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Madam Mayor Patino?
Aye.
Councilmember Waterfield?
Aye.
Councilmember Moats?
Aye.
Councilmember Boyson?
Aye.
And Councilmember Cordero?
Aye.
Oh,
And that concludes my report.
that was quick.
Other than
Madam Clerk, thank you so much. And I'd like to have staff to continue advertising the current vacancies until filled.
Will do.
Okay. And I would like to have to go back and see, do you have a list of the names that are now on all of our boards and commissions? Well, just the ones that
we
were
just
nominated,
announced.
that we voted on, because I'd like to have them stand if they're in the audience.
Sure.
If you would.
Okay.
I was trying to write them down, but you're faster than I
Beth Kaiser for Central Coast Area Agency on Aging.
I don't see Beth here.
Hiram Martinez for the Landmark Committee.
Is Mr. Martinez here? Okay.
Trenton Benedetti, Jack Owen, and Donna Randolph for the Measure U 2012 Citizens Oversight Committee.
Jack Owen is back there. Thank you, Jack.
The Planning Commission would be Robert Dickerson, Tom Lopez, Tim Seifert.
And thank you. Thank you.
For the Recreation and Parks Commission will be Rebecca Carey, Laura Henderson, and Ann Batterson.
You're supposed to stand up. Thank you.
And finally, for the Santa Maria Community Television Committee, Mark Vandekamp.
I saw him here earlier. I guess he left. Okay.
Madam Mayor, before we go on,
Yes,
could
Mr. Boyd.
I have a do-over? I meant to recuse myself from item 3I, not 3H.
That's what I was asking you.
I apologize.
certainly you can have a do-over, because I'm sure we have to get this straight, so.
I'm sure we do. So, can I leave?
Okay. Okay.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make the motion that we approve item 3I.
And include 3H in the first vote, 3A through L.
3A through
We have to
L.
amend the first.
Okay, so then we have to, okay.
Include 3H in with the first nomination that we did of 3A and 3L.
So we're
Okay.
erasing.
We're erasing everything?
No.
Okay.
Just
Okay.
modify your
I modify what the
nomination.
city's clerk's recommendation is.
How about if we do a motion for 3I, and then we call Councilmember Boyson back in, and then we do
That'll work.
all of 3 with the
Okay.
exception of I and F.
Okay.
Okay.
So
So I'd like
3I.
to make a motion to approve item 3I.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and second to approve item 3I. Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Councilmember Waterfield.
Aye.
Councilmember Cordero. Aye. Councilmember Moats.
Aye.
Madam Mayor Patino.
Aye. Okay, we can call Mr. Boyson back in. Okay. And castigate him.
Three, A through L, excluding 3F.
Okay, no, we want to, now we're going to repeat your first motion.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to
So-
redo on that also.
So my first motion was to approve the consent calendar with the exception of 3F and 3I.
Right, okay.
Second.
Okay. Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Councilmember Boyson.
Aye.
Councilmember Moats.
Aye.
Councilmember Cordero. Aye. Councilmember Waterfield. Madam Mayor Patino.
Aye.
And now, and then do you need 3F again? I think we're set on 3F,
No, we're
right?
we're
Okay.
set, yeah. That's why you just included the F in there. The next order of business is a regular business item. Madam Clerk, could you please read the title?
The City Council will consider an ordinance making various technical amendments to the Santa Maria Municipal Code.
And the staff report is to be made by Assistant City Attorney, Ms. Mollenkopf.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and City Council. The City Attorney's Office is pleased to present, I think, the longest technical amendment that we've presented to the City Council since we started this process in 2000. This process involves an annual review of our Santa Maria Municipal Code so that we can make revisions of a clerical nature, which largely these encompass, that reflect changes in California law or changes in the city's standard operating procedures. So if you had a chance to review these, you'll find that all of these revisions fall into those categories. The majority of the revisions relate to the change in the title of the Director of Administrative Services to the Director of Finance. And then the rest are truly technical amendments, ensuring that our water rates comply with Proposition 213 and various changes such as that. So if you've had a chance to review them, I'm happy to entertain your questions, but they are truly of a technical nature and just clean up our municipal code to reflect current law and our operating practices.
Okay, any questions of Ms. Mollenkopf? Okay, do we have any written communications or any requests to speak?
No, Madam Mayor, we do
Okay,
not.
I'll bring this back to the council for discussion or a motion.
Madam Mayor, I would move for the adoption of ordinance number 2017-01 to be introduced for the first reading.
Okay. Second. It's been moved and second to approve ordinance number 2017-01. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Councilmember Boyson.
Aye.
Councilmember Waterfield.
Aye.
Councilmember Moats.
Aye.
Councilmember Cordero.
Aye.
Madam Mayor Patino.
Aye. Okay, the next is oral reports, the oral report from our city manager.
Thank you, Mayor Patino. Again, your next agenda item will be presented to you on the 7th of February, 3 weeks from this evening. And we will have a number of consent agenda items. The one that you just approved, the technical amendments, will be coming back on the consent calendar for a second reading. We have a couple no stopping zones, one on East Bellow, the other one on East Boone. We have an award of a bid for the College Drive public improvements. And then we have one release of bonds for street trees. And then we have one regular business item, and that's the proposed mayor's task force on youth safety. And again, if there are any interested parties that are existing established agencies and nonprofits that are currently providing violence prevention efforts and services to the youth of our community, to please contact the city manager's office for discussions on recommendations to either a policy committee, technical committee, or an advisory group. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Hayden. We'll do oral reports of council members. Shall we start with you, Mr. Boyson?
Sure. Madam Mayor, I would just like to send out some kudos to our city manager for the excellent job he did representing City of Santa Maria last Thursday at the UCSB Economic Summit held at the Alisal Guest Ranch. I thought it was a great presentation. Peter Rupert is always very entertaining, but our city manager certainly was the star of the Central Coast city managers that presented at that symposium. The only other thing, Madam Mayor, that I would like to mention is on next Thursday, a week from this Thursday, the 26th, we'll be holding the point-in-time count. This is a point-in-time counts held every 2 years, and that's to get a census of our homeless and also the to fill out questionnaires and that sort of thing of services that they require and that sort of thing. It'll be held from 6 o'clock at night till 9 o'clock at night. Common Ground Santa Barbara, the website is commongroundsb.org, is still looking for volunteers that can assist with the point-in-time count that evening on the 26th of January. So if you'd like to participate, it's actually a pretty eye-opening experience. I know, Madam Mayor, in the past you've participated, and I know Mr. Cordero has. I'm not sure if you... it's a couple hours out of your time. It is working as a team. It's PM this time, yeah. Common Ground actually will have a training beforehand, and then they'll provide you with all of the information that you need for that. And if you need any other information, just give me a shout and I can get you in touch. So anyways, that's all I've got.
Thank you. Ms. Waterfield.
December the 21st, I had my last Ben Hay show, which was really nice. We have always had a good time. So the baton is passed on to Jack to go ahead and start doing the post-city council meetings. I know you have a good time doing that. January 12th, I had my very first C3H policy committee meeting along with Councilman Cordero. And I'm being broken in on that committee. Found it very interesting. It was in regards to the homeless population in northern Santa Barbara County. There's a lot of work that needs to be done on that. And on Friday, January 13th, I attended the honorary commander's pinning, which I was pinned at Vandenberg Air Force Base for the 30th FSS. And so I'm going on my second year doing that. And that Commander Candace Pipes, to describe that position is that she would be the city manager over Vandenberg Air Force Base. So it's very interesting to see all the workings and goings on at Vandenberg Air Force Base and how they run that as a city. And it's just really an honor. So I really appreciate that. That's it.
Thank you. Mr. Moats?
Well, I spent the last week running around the great state of Texas, not doing much for the city of Santa Maria, but I had a great time.
Did you bring any jobs back from Texas to California or just Santa Maria?
No, Madam Mayor.
Mr. Cordero.
Thank you. As Councilwoman Waterfield said, I attended the C3H meeting with her, and it was enlightening to hear that information again. But I think what most impressed me since the last meeting on December the 20th was all of the department heads that I had an opportunity to meet with, and how well-informed they were, how they were able to bring us up to date and give us information that I think is pertinent to sitting up here on the dais. One of the things that I did notice, and I mentioned it a little bit earlier to this gentleman over here, I don't know how he does it. Jason is in every meeting. He writes so many of these reports. I think that Mr. Hayden has figured out a way to clone people, and he's got more than one of them around here. I felt very informed, and it was a pleasant time meeting all of the department heads that I've met so far, and looking forward to meeting the others, and that's all I have.
Thank you. I've left my list, but I did want to tell everyone that I met with our new Congressman Salud Carbajal today, and he was very anxious to come here and find out, what he could do for us, and so we could keep a close connection with him. And if we need anything, we can just reach him on the phone. So we told him we wanted lots of money, and we need some overpasses to fix, and the Beta Arabia one. So anyway, it was a good meeting. And so if at any time any of you think things that we can ask him for,
Absolutely.
let's do so. And I would like to close tonight's meeting and honor someone that passed in our community, and someone who's given so much of himself and his family to our community is Dr. Dennis Shepard, and we lost him on December 12th. So he's been he and Francesca have given so much to the community, and they've been so philanthropic, so generous with everything in the community, and things that people don't even know about. And I would like to close tonight's meeting honoring Dennis Shepard. And any other comments from the dais? If not, ladies and gentlemen, this meeting is adjourned.